السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله علي الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا وسندنا وأعلانا وأولانا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. Welcome to Quranic Arabic Academy, Arabic Grammar Made Easy, lesson number 63. رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد رسولا. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. In this lesson, we are still learning as-sarf, but today especially we'll look at al-fi'l al-mudari'. In the last lesson, we've looked at al-fi'l al-madi. In this lesson, we will go through al-fi'l al-mudari'. What is as-sarf? We went through this. I'm just going to quickly go to the next slide. This is the part very important, as we've learned 99% of the verbs has 3 root letters. We just have to remember the first letter is called the fa'ul kalima. The second letter is called the aynul kalima. The last letter is called the lamul kalima. So any letter that falls in place of fa, it is called fa'ul kalima. Any letter that falls in place of ayn is called aynul kalima. And any letter falls in place of lam is called lamul kalima. Let's take another 3 root letters, shin, ra, ba. Because the shin falls in the place of fa, and the ra is placed coming in place of ayn, and the ba is coming in place of lam. So the shin will be called fa'ul kalima because in the place of fa. The ra, because it is in the place of ayn, is called the aynul kalima. And the ba, because it's in place of lam, is called the lamul kalima. So shin, ra, ba, they are called root letters. So shin is called fa'ul kalima, ra is called aynul kalima, and the ba is called lamul kalima. When we put them together and put the haraka, but we know the haraka of the first letter, which is a fatha. We know the haraka on the last letter, which is a fatha. It is the middle letter, aynul kalima. Sometimes has a fatha, sometimes has a kasra, sometimes has a dhamma. But there is no rule when the aynul kalima will be fatha, when the aynul kalima will be kasra, when the aynul kalima will be dhamma. There is no rule. The verb is already made, just have to memorize it. So in this verb, the aynul kalima is a kasra, so it becomes shariba, to drink. Shariba, to drink. We can see the aynul kalima having a kasra. So let's take some more 3 root letters, put fatha on them. So kha, lam, qaf becomes khalaqa, means to create. Then ayn, ba, dal becomes abada, to worship. Kaf, ta, ba, kataba, to write. Swad, dal, qaf becomes sadaqa, to tell the truth. Then ra, za, qaf, razaqa, to provide. How did we put fatha on the aynul kalima? Well, we didn't. This is how the verb is. Khalaqa, abada, kataba, sadaqa, razaqa. So these are the verbs falls in the group that aynul kalima having fatha. And last one, sin, jim, dal. If we put the fatha on all of them, becomes sajada, to prostrate. Okay, so these are the few verbs that falls in the group of the aynul kalima having fatha. Now let's look at some of the root letters and we'll change the aynul kalima to kasra. Fa, ra, ha. So we cannot change the fa'ul kalima. Fa'ul kalima always has been fatha. The lamul kalima, the last letter, always having a fatha. It is only the aynul kalima. So we'll put a kasra, will become fariha. Means to become happy. Next, qaf, dal, mim. We already know the aynul kalima kasra. So qadima, 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 to come. Next, ra, ha, mim. We know the aynul kalima kasra. So rahima, rahima, to be merciful. Next, shin, ha, dal, shahida. Shahida means to witness. So how did we put kasra on the aynul kalima? Well, we didn't. These fails falls in the group of aynul kalima kasra. So fariha, to become happy. Qadima, to come. Rahima, to be merciful. Shahida, to witness. Let's look some of the verbs that aynul kalima having dhamma. Remember, in this group, there's only a handful of verbs. A handful of verbs. When aynul kalima having dhamma. So we'll have the same verbs as we've been learning. Kaf, ra, mim, karuma, to become generous. Qaf, ra, ba, qaruba, to become near. Ba, ayn, dal, ba'uda, ba'uda, to become far. And the tha, qaf, lam, we know the fa'ul kalima fatha. We know the lamul kalima fatha. That is the aynul kalima we're looking at. Now this tha, qaf, lam, these 3 root letters falls in the group of aynul kalima dhamma. So will become thaqula, thaqula, to become heavy. Verb, we've learned what is verb. Verbs gives the meaning of an action in relation to past, present and future tense. The three types of fi'ls: الفعل الماضي past tense, الفعل المضارع present and future tense, فعل الأمر imperative or command verb. We did look at الفعل الماضي. Today we're going to look at الفعل المضارع present tense. The الفعل المضارع present tense is used to talk about the present and to talk about the future. The present tense can be one of the two tenses. Present continuous, the action is taking place right now. Present habitual, the action takes place regularly. Which meaning to take? The context of the sentence or graph or paragraph will determine which tense is being referred to. So the context will tell us, do we translate present continuous? He is doing right now. Or present habitual, he does. Action takes place regularly. This is what al-fi'l al-mudari is. So how do we make fi'l al-mudari? A letter called حرف المضارعة is prefixed to a fi'l al-mudari. So we need حرف المضارع. There are 4 حروف المضارعة. There are 4 حروف المضارع. Number 1, ya. Number 2, ta. Number 3, alif. And number 4, noon. Ya ta, alif noon. Ya ta, alif noon. So in fi'l mudari, the fa'ul kalima is always sukun. The fa'ul kalima. So we add one of these letters before the fa kalima. And these 4 letters always with a fatha. Sometimes it can be with dhamma. We'll look at it more in details of that. But many of the times, or most of the times, these 4 huruf al-mudari will be fatha. But sometimes it can be dhamma as well. So the fa'ul kalima is always sukun on it, sakin letter. The ainul kalima, again it depends. Ainul kalima sometimes has a fatha, sometimes has a dhamma, sometimes has a kasra. Is there any rules? No. There's no rules. Just have to learn them. So we'll talk about more when we come to that. But these are the 4 letters. They are called huruf al-mudari'ah and they're prefixed to fi'l al-mudari'. As we've learned that every fi'ls require a fa'il. So the types of fa'il, let's go through them again. There are 2 types of fa'il. Ismun zahirun, a solid noun, or a damir, or pronoun. If the fa'il is damir, it can be one of the 2. Damirun mustatirun, hidden pronoun, and damirun barizun, visible or apparent pronoun. Same we've learned for fi'l al-madi. Fi'l al-madi can have damirun mustatirun. It also can be damirun barizun. Same thing in fi'l mudari. It can have damirun mustatirun or damirun barizun. In fi'l al-madi, there's only 2 sigas that have damirun mustatirun. In فعل مضارع, let's see how many sigas, how many forms we have. The ضمير مستتر, and then we'll talk about the ضمير بارز. There are 5 الضمير المستتر in فعل المضارع. So there are 5 sigas that ضمير المستتر, it is attached to فعل المضارع. 5 sigas. So first of all, what are these ضميرs? هو, هي, أنت, أنا, نحن. In فعل ماضي we had only 2 sigas, or 2 ضميرs مستتر, which was هو and here. But in فعل مضارع, including these 2, there are 3 more. أنت, أنا, نحن. The هو is hidden in the first صيغة, which is called مذكر غائب. The here is hidden in the second صيغة, which is called مؤنث غائبة. And أنت, we know which صيغة it is, مذكر مخاطب واحد. And أنا متكلم مفرد متكلم. And نحن جمع متكلم. So these are the 5 الضمير المستتر. There are 4 الضمير البارز, that is attached to الفعل المضارع. So when the ضمير is visible, those ضميرs will become the fa'il. What are they? Alif, which is called ألف الاثنين. Waw, which is called واو الجماعة. Noon, which is called نون النسوة. There's 2 sigas the noon النسوة comes in. One is جمع مؤنث غائب. Number 2, جمع مؤنث مخاطب. In these 2 sigas, this noon is called noon النسوة. And number 4, ya, it is called ya al-mukhatabah. It comes only in one صيغة, the mufrad مؤنث مخاطبة. So ألف الاثنين, واو الجماعة, نون النسوة, ياء المخاطبة. These are the 4 ضمير البارز. They will be visible and they are the fa'il of the fi'l. And the 5 ضمير are invisible, which is mustatir, hidden. Those are هو, هي, أنت, أنا, نحن. So as we go, the sighas of فعل المضارع will point out those ضمير المستتر and الضمير البارز. So there are 14 forms of فعل المضارع, same as فعل الماضي, 14 forms. First, let's look at مذكر غائب, third person masculine. As we know, it has 3 forms. One is for mufrad, one is for muthanna, and one is for jama'. Let's take the fi'l nasara. Nasara. So what we've learned, we need to put the one of the huruf al-mudari first. Because it's ghaib, we'll use ya. So ya represents ghaib, third person. And the fa'ul kalima, as we've said, فاء الكلمة is ساكن. ينصر. As we've learned, the فعل المضارع has إعراب. So فعل مضارع إعراب is مرفوع. So we see a rafa on the last letter. ينصر. The عين الكلمة, it happens to be dhamma. So عين الكلمة can have a dhamma, can have a fatha, can have a kasra. There is no rule, just have to memorize it. So it's the easiest way to memorize فعل مضارع that we memorize with فعل ماضي. نصر ينصر. نصر ينصر. نصر ينصر. And the فعل مضارع, the إعراب is مرفوع. Sometimes this sign of rafa is dhamma. Sometimes the sign of rafa is thubutun nun. Sometimes the sign of rafa is mabni ala sukun. مبني على السكون. So all the mufrad sighas, the Arab will be مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة. The مثنى Arab is ثبوت النون. ينصران. ينصران. And Jama also, the Arab is ثبوت النون. ينصرون. Now let's look at the fa'il. ينصر, because it's the first sigha. After this, the fa'il can be ismun zahirun. If there is no ismun zahirun, then the fa'il is mustatir, hidden, which is huwa. ينصران ألف الاثنين is the fa'il. After this sigha, there cannot be ismun zahirun as a fa'il, because the fa'il is already there, built in. One fa'il cannot have two fa'ils, direct two fa'ils. So you cannot have alif al-ithnain as well as ismun zahirun. No. Alif al-ithnain is the fa'il. Yansuruna, same thing. The waw al-jama'a is the fa'il. So after this sigha, it cannot have ismun zahirun as the fa'il. Next, we look at muannas ghaiba, third person. Again, three forms for mufrad, for muthanna, and for jama'. Yeah. Now we need one of the huruf al-mudari'. Remember that ta is always for muannas. Ta is for muannas. So use the ta. Tansuru. Tansuru. Again, it is marfu' وعلامة رفعه الضمة ظاهرة. تنصر. After this sigha, because it's muannas, ismun zahirun can come as a fa'il. If there is no ismun zahirun as a fa'il, we make the damir mustatir as the fa'il, which is here. مثنى تنصران. It is مرفوع وعلامة رفعه ثبوت النون. والألف ضمير is the فاعل في محل رفع فاعل. ينصرنا. ينصرنا. This صيغة we use حروف المضارع the ياء for this صيغة only. ينصرنا مبني على السكون. The Arab is مبني على السكون. Why? لاتصاله بنون النسوة. ينصرنا. And the نون النسوة is the فاعل. It is a ضمير في محل رفع فاعل. So 3 صيغas for مذكر غائب for فعل مضارع and 3 صيغas for مؤنث غائبة. ينصر ينصران ينصرون تنصر تنصران ينصرن. Let's look at the مخاطب صيغas. Again 3 for مذكر مفرد مثنى جمع. مخاطب the second person. تنصر it is مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة. Because this is مفرد مخاطب, you cannot have اسم ظاهر as the fa'il. There'll be no اسم ظاهر as the fa'il because the fa'il is already built in. تنصر. So what is the fa'il? We cannot see. It is mustatir. And because it is fixed, you have to say wujuban. For the ghaib sigas, yansuru, that is not fixed. It can be ism zahirun, it can be the damir. So when it is a damir, we say jawazan. But for this siga, tansuru, anta damirun mustatirun wujuban. It is fixed. You cannot change it. So tansuru anta damirun mustatirun wujuban. Next, tansurani, it is marfu wa alamat raf'ihi thubut nun, and alif is the fa'il. Tansuruna marfu wa alamat raf'ihi thubut nun, nun is there, and waw al-jama'a is the fa'il fi mahall raf'. مؤنث مخاطبة, the second person, مؤنث مفرد مثنى جمع. تنصرين تنصرين. Here is the ضمير, we can see يا المخاطبة is the فاعل and it is مرفوع وعلامة رفعه ثبوت النون. So over here the يا is the ضمير في محل رفع فاعل. تنصرين. The لام الكلمة, which is the ra, لام الكلمة, it was rough over here, dhamma. Why is it changed here? Because the ya demands kasra before it. تنصرين. مثنى تنصراني, again مرفوع وعلامة رفع ثبوت النون. ألف الاثنين is the فاعل في محل رفع. Then تنصرنا تنصرنا مرفوع مبني not مرفوع sorry مبني على السكون مبني على السكون لاتصاله نون النسوة. So the 6 مخاطب sigas, مذكر first, تنصر تنصراني تنصرون مؤنث مخاطبة مفرد تنصرين مثنى تنصران جمع تنصرن. So 6 sigas for غائب مذكر 3 مؤنث 3. 6 sigas for مخاطب مذكر 3 مؤنث 3. That makes 12. We need 2 more. متكلم sigas, the first person, the speaker. One is for مفرد مذكر المؤنث, and one is for مثنى جمع مذكر المؤنث. So for the مفرد مذكر مؤنث, we need one of the حروف المضارع. So for the مفرد متكلم, we use the همزة, the alif. أنصر أنصر. It is مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. أنصر. What is the file? The file is built in وجوبا. This siga cannot have اسم الظاهر as the file because it's built in وجوبا. You cannot change it. It's fixed. And the ضمير is أنا. أنصر أنا ضمير مستتر. وكان الفاعل ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره أنا. فمثنى جمع ننصر ننصر وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Again, the file is وجوبا تقديره نحن. This siga cannot have اسم الظاهر. It is only 2 sigas that can have اسم الظاهر as the file. The first siga for مذكر غائب ينصر, and the first siga of مؤنث غائب تنصر. ينصر تنصر. If you want to make it standard, يفعل تفعل. يفعل تفعل. Only these 2 sigas we look for اسم الظاهر as the file. For rest of the 12 sigas, we never look اسم الظاهر as the file because the ضمير is the file built in. Okay, so these were the 14 sigas of al-mudari. So let's go through them from our head. If you remember, ينصر ينصران ينصرون تنصر تنصران ينصرن. For the مخاطب 6 sigas, we use the ta as حروف المضارع. تنصر تنصران تنصرون تنصرين تنصران تنصرن. For متكلم أنصر ننصر. Let's make these 14 sigas by ourselves. مذكر غائب مفرد مثنى جمع. For غائب we need the ya. My keyboard is not turned on. Let me turn it on. Yep. So we need the ya for the غائب. Ya. The fa'ul kalima will be sukun. The fa'ul kalima will be sakin. Sukun on it. So let's take a fail. Let's take shariba. Shariba. What is mudari? We know the sheen is the fa'ul kalima. It is sakin letter. Yash. Yash. What about the ainul kalima? The ra, shari, ba, the ra, ainul kalima. Do you have a fatha? Do you have a dhamma? Do you have a kasra? Well, there is no rule. I've learned it. Shariba yashrabu. So the ainul kalima having a fatha. يشرب. And the last letter, as we know, is مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة. يشرب. Once I have the first صيغة, I know the عين الكلمة بفتحة. For rest of the صيغas, عين الكلمة فتحة. Now we cannot change it. يشرب. I need to make مثنى. Again, it's very easy. يشرب. There's the ba. I need alif for the مثنى and the noon to show it is مرفوع case. يشربان. For جمع يشربوا. I need the واو الجماعة, and واو الجماعة demands dhamma before it, and the noon with the fatha to show it is in marfu case. يشربون. مؤنث غائبة. For غائب مؤنث, I need the ta as حروف المضارع. Ta. Again, the shin is a sukun, the ra as a fatha, and the ba to show is marfu dhamma. تشرب. تشربان. And جمع مؤنث غائبة, remember it starts with ya as the علامة مضارع. يش. And because we're going to attach noon and niswa, so the lam al-kalima becomes sakin. يشربنا. So يشرب, يشربان, يشربون, تشرب, تشربان, يشربنا. The file over here, because we don't have اسم ظاهر, we say ضمير مستتر تقديره هو. يشربان ألف الاثنين. يشربون واو الجماعة. تشرب, we have no اسم ظاهر after it, so we say جوازا تقديره هي. تشربان ألف الاثنين في محل رفع فاعل. يشربن نون النسوة في محل رفع فاعل. Then we go to مخاطب. Well, مخاطب starts with the ta as علامة مضارع. The فاعل كلمة is a sakin. تش. The عين الكلمة we've learned from the first صيغة, it is a fatha, so we cannot change, and the dhamma on the last letter to show is marfu. تشرب. مثنى تشربان. The alif is the alif الاثنين فاعل, the noon kasra is to show مثنى and to show it is marfu case. Sorry, the noon kasra is not to show مثنى, but that noon comes in مثنى siga is kasra. Alif is to show مثنى. Then jama تشربون. Waw is the fa'il and the noon is to show it is marfu case, but the noon comes for jama is with the fatha. واحد ومفرد مؤنث مخاطبة. تشربين. The ya is the damir البارز في محل رفع فاعل, and the noon is to show is in marfu case. ثبوت النون, and this noon also has a fatha. تشربان for مثنى and for جمع تشربن مبني على السكون لاتصاله بنون النسوة. So these are the 6 مخاطب sigas: تشرب, تشربان, تشربون, تشربين, تشربان, تشربن. And for the مخاطب siga, أشرب, the علامة of رفع is الضمة الظاهرة والفاعل ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره أنا and نشرب مرفوع وعلامة رفع ضمة الظاهرة على آخره and والفاعل ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره نحن. Okay, so these are the 14 forms of فعل الماضي. Understood so far? Again, we've done these فعل الماضي in the past. Again, these are just recap. So we are fresh in our mind. In the coming lessons, we need these things. Okay, now the important thing, these 4 sigas of فعل مضارع are called the الأفعال الخمسة. So there are 5 sigas, they are called الأفعال الخمسة. So what are these sigas? Let's see. First, let's look at the غائب sigas. The غائب sigas for مذكر مثنى ينصران, مؤنث مثنى تنصران, and مذكر جمع ينصرون. So ينصران is called الأفعال الخمسة. تنصران is called الأفعال الخمسة. ينصرون is called الأفعال الخمسة. So from the غائب sigas, we have these 3 sigas. مذكر مثنى ينصران, مؤنث مثنى تنصران, مذكر جمع ينصرون. From the مخاطب sigas, we have مذكر مثنى تنصران, we have مؤنث مثنى again تنصران, then we have مؤنث مفرد تنصرين, then we have مذكر جمع تنصرون. So let's look at the different shapes. So ينصران, this starts with the ya, that's 1. تنصران, both مثنى, but it starts with the ta, number 2. Number 3, ينصرون, جمع مذكر. So 1, 2, 3. مخاطب sigas تنصران مذكر تنصران مؤنث, because these 2 is same as this تنصران. So whenever this تنصران comes, we say الأفعال الخمسة. Whenever this تنصران comes, because it's the same, we say it is الأفعال الخمسة. When this siga مؤنث مثنى tansurani, because all these three are same. Whenever one of these three comes, we say tansurani al-af'al al-khamsa. So we count these three as one. We count these three as one. So 1, 2, 3. These two falls in this. So we have three sigas. Number 4, muannas mufrad, tansurina. And number 5, tansuruna. Yansurani, tansurani, yansuruna, tansurina, tansuruna. So 3 from ghaib and 2 from mukhatab. And from mukhatab, the muthanna sigas also counts in it, but because it's the same as this one, we count them as one. So all these three sigas, we count them as one. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, include this, 3, 4, 5. These 5 are called al-af'al al-khamsa. So why did I have 4 over there? It should be 5. So these 5 sigas are called al-af'al al-khamsa. So next time you read the Quran, when you come across a fi'l mudari, can you find al-af'al al-khamsa? Yes, easy. Just look at the muthanna sigas, look at the jama sigas, and look at the muannas mufrad sigha. Al-af'al al-khamsa. Now let's look at some examples, and let's do the i'rab. Yaftahu, by looking at it, what siga is it? Can you identify by just looking at it? Yaftahu. The fa is the fa kalima, and the ta is the ayn kalima, and the ha is the lamul kalima. We have the ya at the beginning prefixed to show it is mudari. Ya comes for ghaib sigas, and that there's nothing to show is muthanna or jama. And ya also comes for mudhakkar. So very simple, mudhakkar, ghaib, but which one? Mufrad, muthanna or jama? Yes, as I said, there is nothing to show is muthanna. There is no aliful ithnain. There is no waw al-jama'ah. So it is mufrad. Yaftahu. So this mufrad siga can have ism dhahir as the fa'il. Can have. If we have it, and that fa'il will be in rafa case. As we've learnt, the fa'il is marfu'. So if we have ism dhahir, we'll make the fa'il. If we don't have ism dhahir, the damir will be the fa'il jawazan. Yaftahu al-waladu. Yes, we have ism dhahir, and it is in marfu case, that is the fa'il. Yaftahu al-waladu al-baba. Yaftahu al-waladu al-baba. Fa'il, fa'il, maf'ul bihi. The boy is opening the door. I'rab. يفتح فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة رفع الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. الولد فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفع الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. الباب مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصب الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. Straightforward. Let's look next example. يغفر If we have ism al-dhahir is the fa'il, if not, then the damir will be the fa'il because this is the mufrad sigha, first sigha fil mudari. Yaghfiru dhunub. If we had yaghfiru dhunubu, then we could have said, yeah, that is the fa'il. But don't just be blind, look at the fa'il as well. If we make dhunubu the fa'il, that means dhunubu is doing the action of yaghfiru. Can dhunub do the action of yaghfiru? No. So that will be wrong. Dhunub never can be or can become the fa'il. So it must be maf'ulun bihi, fatha on it. Yaghfiru dhunuba. So we don't see any fa'il. What is the fa'il? Damirun mustatirun jawazan. Taqdiruhu huwa. So yaghfiru fa'il fa'il and dhunuba maf'ulun bihi. He forgives sins. So here we are translating the fa'il mudari, the habitual, what is it? Habitual. He forgives, or continuous. He always forgives. يغفر فعل المضارع مرفوع وعلامة ضمة ظاهرة على آخره والفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو الذنوب مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصب الفتحة ظاهرة على آخره. Okay, so I've taken each sigha for each example, so we know the Arab of each of them. Al-Dhunuba, where did I get Nawafis from? Sorry, that is not there. So Al-Dhunuba is the last. We don't have that. It was from somewhere else. So Al-Dhunuba مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصب الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. Right. Tashrabu. Now this siga, by looking at it, what siga do you think? This form can be one of the two. It can be muannas ghaiba, third person muannas, or could be second person mudhakkar, anta. Right? So first of all, if we have ism al-dhahir as the fa'il, then it is fixed. It is mufrad muannas ghaiba. If there is no ism al-dhahir, then possible one of the two. Then again, the context will tell us which one. So let's see, do we have ism al-dhahir? Tashrabul ma'a. Tashrabul ma'a. Again, here two possible, isn't it? That can be muannas ghaiba. If it's muannas ghaiba, we make the fa'il damir mustatir jawazan taqdiruhu here, or we make the damir ujuban taqdiruhu anta. Again, from the context of the sentence before, after will tell us which meaning. So let's see what I've taken. Tashrabu anta. Okay, tashrabu anta. Al-ma maf'ulun bihi. So you are drinking water. If we take the damir تقديره here, then we'll say she is drinking water. تشرب فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة الضمة ظاهرة وعلى آخره. يعني if we make the here the ضمير والفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هي. And if we make the ضمير أنت والفاعل ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره أنت. الماء مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصب الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. Next, تحفظان القرآن. Let's go through very quickly. تحفظان فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة رفعه ثبوت النون لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة. وألف الاثنين ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل رفع فاعل. القرآن مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصب الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. Next, تعبدون. What siga is this? تعبدون. We see واو الجماعة and the noon is there for ثبوت النون for مرفوع case, and we see the ta at the beginning as حرف المضارع which is مخاطب. تعبدون. Can we have اسم ظاهر as the file for this siga? Yes or no? Can we have اسم ظاهر, any ism coming as the file of this siga? No, because the waw al-jama'a is the file. You can see it is visible. ضمير البارز. So next we need مفعول به. تعبدون الله. You all worship Allah. تعبدون فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة ثبوت النون لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة. I did check a few times. I went through a few times. There's still some of the things didn't catch. It is a famous story of, it's not story, famous saying of Imam Shafi'i. When he wrote his book, that is the fiqh book of Shawafi, those who follow the Shafi fiqh school of thought. He says, I went through 40 times from beginning to end. Every time I found a error, mistake. It is only the book of Allah has no errors, no mistake. So I'm a human being. I went through many times. Still, in the class, we find some errors. Okay, so this should be تعبدون فعل المضارع مرفوع وعلامة رفع ثبوت النون لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة. والواو الجماعة ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل رفع فاعل. الله لفظ الجلالة مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصب الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. So let's change that. Copy and paste. Oops. Go back. So now it's correct. We have ta'buduna, we have waw al-jama'a, then we have لفظ الجلالة الله. Next, تحفظنا القرآن. تحفظنا القرآن. What siga is this? By looking at it, we see that ta, it can be for ghaib, muannas. It also can be for the mukhatab, for all sigas for mukhatab. What siga is this? Look at the last, we have the noon, and qabla noon we have a second letter, so mabni ala sukun. So there's only two sigas in fal mudari mabni ala sukun. One is jama muannas ghaiba, the one is jama mukhatab muannas, jama muannas mukhataba. Okay? So one ghaib starts with the ya, and the mukhataba starts with the ta. So it is jama muannas mukhataba. You all female are memorizing the Quran. تحفظنا فعل مضارع مبني على السكون لاتصاله بنون النسوة. نون النسوة ضمير متصل مبني على فتح في محل رفع فاعل. القرآن مفعول منصوب وعلامة نصب الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. We went through this, we learned this. I'm just going quickly. Next, نعبد الله. نعبد الله, we worship Allah. أعراب نعبد فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة ضمة الظاهرة على آخره والفاعل ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره نحن. We can change this to مفرد متكلم أعبد. So أعبد will be exactly the same, only change the والفاعل ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره أنا. الله لفظ الجلالة مفعول به منصوبا وعلامة نصب الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. So the same. So we have فعل مضارع, it is مرفوع. The علامة مرفوع is 3. Number 1, الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Number 2, ثبوت النون لأنه من أفعال الخمسة. And number 3, مبني على السكون لاتصاله بنون النسوة. These are the only 3 أعراب of فعل المضارع when it is مرفوع. فعل المضارع can be منصوب. فعل المضارع also can be مجزوم. To be فعل مضارع منصوب, we need one of the حروف النواسب, and the فعل مضارع to be مجزوم, we need one of the حروف الجزم. We've done those in the previous lessons. Okay, so these are the few things we needed for فعل ماضي and فعل مضارع. From the next lesson, we can go more into deep of ourselves. So we'll wait for the next lesson, inshallah. We'll end the lesson here, end of lesson 63. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.